personally, some to National Action Network. The National Action Network's tax debt as of December of 2013 was a little over $400,000, started at $1.9 million. On that, they want $400,000 in penalties. The board's position at our national convention was that why should we have to pay 100% interest, see if we can knock it down, but we continue to pay the monthly installment while we did. What in all of this is in the 990 that is public, that's filed. If you want copies, Ms. Johnson will give it to you. Also that strangely is omitted by all these stories is that during these periods when there was a shortfall, I would personally loan the organization money. So I have to be the most inept charlatan in the country that I would not only work a couple of years for nothing, I would loan money. As of December of last year, on this 995 of the state, I lent National Action Network in 2013 $320-something thousand. So what would be the point of me trying to play games with their taxes or kickbacks when I'm lending money, putting money in, and have done a couple $100,000 a year when it was necessary. So to put in that I get a salary after not getting one of $250,000 and not put in that I've loaned that much or more on an annual basis is a little interesting to me, since they're all on the same document. The other thing that is interesting to me is to mislead people that National Action Network paid the tuition of my daughters. When I talked to the reporter, who I understand is here so he can do his interviews after, he asked me about a deposition that was done in the 90s on the Brawley lawsuit, in which in the deposition, the attorney for the plaintiff asked me about how did I pay for my daughter's tuition, and I think my response was I can get friends and or borrow from National Action Network, meaning borrow against my salary at the time. That is not commingling money. But the strange part is that the reporter and I both agreed, I didn't even do that. I didn't borrow them. There's not one dime that National Action Network ever paid for my children's tuition. And if I had taken a loan against salary, which others have done in the organization, I had a legal right to do that. There is not one dime, no, not one red penny of current taxes owed by National Action Network or by me. These are all on back taxes pre-2006 that you've covered over and over again. Every time there's a Sean Bell or a Ferguson or a Trayvon Martin, we go through my taxes. It is the same agreement, y'all. It's the same thing we announced in 2009. It is the same thing we've been paying every month. And it is something that, curiously, maybe this time we'll get through. The other thing is the politics of it. We raised over $1 million at my birthday. We are in a position to continue to work, and as I said, we're trying to get to wipe this out at a reasonable penalty. But either way, we're going to pay the installments as we have, and it'll be wiped out anyway, both personally and NAN-wise. But we're talking about old taxes, y'all. We're not talking about anything new. So all of this, as if my unpaid, I'm not paying taxes while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. It reads all right, but it's just not true. Well, I tell you what's also interesting to me. I want to read from the program book of my 60th anniversary. 60th birthday. Well, that's anniversary of my being born. It reads, let me put on my reading glasses, I did have a birthday. It reads, when we disagree, which we frequently enough This is New York, after all. We did so respectfully, and we always kept the lines of communication open. That helped set the tone for the city, which helped keep the city calm during for me. And I do know that we have complied, and there has been no new liens because we have complied, and that we would like to settle the whole thing.
I thought that you owed 1.9 and then it's gone down to 400,000 and there's...
That's National Action Network. He said myself personally. See, that's why I have to listen, because Tony and I have done this for years, and he's trying to play catch.
You refer to the politics of when you're involved with the Trayvon Martin case, the Sean Bell case, or the cases.
Well, how many times have y'all gone through these tax stories with me? It's the same 2008, 7, 6. You know, they don't revolve, they don't change.
No, but my question, Reverend, is what do you see as the politics? Is it to get you so that you would back off these things? What
I don't know. I think that what would be a better question is to ask Ryder, is there any violation of his agreement? If there has been no violation, then what is the story? Has he neglected or failed to pay current taxes, or the organization failed? If not, what is the story? And what is the difference between him talking to de Blasio and him talking to Bloomberg when he was making this, complying with the same agreement, or talking to Obama, or talking to Bush? I think that's a better question.
Why do you think there's been more attention given to your relationship with Bill de Blasio than...
I think it's political. I think that people that, a lot of people don't like the fact that President Obama's the president. A lot of people do not like the fact that Bill de Blasio won for mayor. And they certainly don't like the fact that I'm still here. And I ain't going nowhere.
Two questions. First, you said that as of December 2013, National Action Network only owes $400,000.
The taxes, and then they stuck on 400-something thousand in penalties.
The 990 that you filed last year has you owing more than $800,000.
Which is what I just gave you the breakdown. 4 plus 4 is 8. All right? Even in the House of Justice.
Were you not taking salary? Because it says of the form also has you taking $250,000 salary.
No, it also says I loan the organization over $320,000. Is that right? Did you see that? Hello?
I'm here.
Did you see that? That's what I'm talking about. Isn't it interesting? They don't see I loan the organization more than my salary. She can't even bring herself to admitting she saw that.
No, I'm not going to get into a debate with you.
That's a debate. Didn't she ask me about the figures on the sheet? And I just asked her about, well, how's that a debate?
Why do you loan them $300,000? Why forego the $250,000?
Because, very good question, because we're in civil rights. So, if you have a case that starts and we need to move people, airline tickets, rental of cars, literature, whatever it is, they may not have it at that time. I will say, I'll take care of that. I'll loan you 50. That is not regulated by a weekly check. There's no schedule for Michael Brown to get shot. There's no schedule for an Eric Garner to be choked. We jumped on both of them at the request of the family, including helping with funeral expenses of both. That was not in the budget. So that is why sometime in a shortfall, I cover that personally, because that's what I'm committed to.
Reverend, if you loan your...
Wait a minute, you've been
Rev Sharpton Stand from the Daily News. There was a poll yesterday that said you were the most important black leader in the city. There was something that I wanted to ask you about. There's a racial divide with Mayor de Blasio's support. I wanted to see what you thought about that. And also on the Rachel Nordlinger thing, is she welcome back? Have you offered her a job?
Well, one, I think that the poll, and I'm no fan of polls, whether I do good or bad, but the poll, in my opinion, was interested in that it showed the tale of two cities that Mayor de Blasio ran on, and how people in different parts and different races in the city see things differently, including him. So I think it vindicates his position and shows the challenge that we need in terms of bringing it together. So I think the poll, I frankly thought the poll would be more negative toward him than it was. I think he did fine. And I think after 5 weeks, 6 weeks of you guys putting my name in every story with Rachel Nordling and Sandy Rubenstein, none of which had nothing to do with, I was surprised that I wasn't down through the bottom in the polls. I mean, he works at it hard trying to knock my numbers down every Saturday.
Do you know who commissioned the poll?
I didn't. Quinnipiac, I think, did. I don't know who commissioned them. I don't know. But I think you had another question.
Right, and so just
She doesn't like to debate me. She just likes to break in your question.
Rachel, can you talk about that? Is she welcome back? You know, would you invite her back to work?
I've talked to Rachel, and I read your story. Rachel and I have not talked about a job. We've only talked about Carrie and our concern. I watched him grow up. Ironically, about 8 months ago, there was a reporter running around trying to prove that I was Carrie's father. You remember that? Oh, you work in Room 9. So, I mean, we've been through all of this before. I've gone from, being too close to a politician to being too close to entertainers and people's fathers that I'm not, and taxes that I'm currently paid, but they're going. I mean, all kind of stuff. And we'll be here January somewhere.
Rev Sharpton, that's one was Fox 5. Did you get any sort of...
Fox 5. Do you know that News Corp donates money to National Action Network?
I know now.
And you know that I've done shows on Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity when their original investigations were, and there was nothing wrong with it. So all of a sudden I get my own show. I guess y'all don't like competition.
Reverend, did you get any sort of heads up by the New York Times about this article?
I did an interview for it.
Okay. So you knew...
I knew they were. I didn't know they were going to put a headline out there that my taxes had grown when they haven't. Now, if penalties went higher on the old stuff, I wouldn't know that. But how could the taxes grow in a year closed? And there are no current taxes that I have not paid personally, and Nan is on ADP. Every week, the payroll is paid, the taxes are already out. Every week. Every quarter, I pay my taxes on what I lecture make on the outside. My salary at Nan, my salary from radio, my salary from TV, the taxes taken before I get it. There are no current taxes.
And you thought you were blindsided?
I'm never blindsided. I don't, I always sleep with one eye open.
I'd like to ask you about what your sense is of the mood in Staten Island and in the city and in Ferguson, and what you anticipate is going to happen when this grand jury...
I mean, my honest assessment of that is that it's very tense. It is going to take... I'm talking about Ferguson. I think that it is very tense. I think that the role of the parents and leadership is important to keep a tone there. I also think that a lot of the young activists that have been marching and keeping things going have been very responsible and pointedly nonviolent, and we must support them. But there's a lot of tension out there, and I do not think it's helpful when the governor lectures and does not have a balance. In Staten Island, I think that there's tension. I do not think it is as high yet as Ferguson, but Ferguson could inflame Staten Island and incidents around the country.
Reverend, can I just ask you this number 4.5 million that the Times is putting out, is that accurate?
1.5 million what?
4.5 million that you owe.
I just answered you. That was when we started. You had to remember when you begin. I don't even know if that number was accurate then.
That's what they say you owe.
But how could I owe what you originally owed in 2008? Then that would have meant we paid none of the installment, and that we didn't put up the $1 million that everybody reported. How can you owe the original liens are never pulled away until they're satisfied, right? Which means that when they filed the liens in 2009, if it equaled 4.5, how can it equal that now unless you're saying that the Bush administration, nobody else made sure I paid a dime, and the $1 million was just a lie?
So you're saying the 4.5 is what it was originally?
Correct.
They keep it at, but you're not saying exactly.
No, the liens is where they kept it at.
Right, the number of the liens, but it's not accurate to say that you absolutely owe that right now.
Absolutely. It's accurate, absolutely inaccurate. Because I just told you, when publicly you tell what National Action Network owes, My private debt is not public, but I don't know where they are with penalties. I know that I have